Back at it with another episode. Just riding around on the Versys. It has been a minute since I've ridden this bike, so I wanted to just kind of check in with you and tell you about the updates I've done to it, as well as the updates I've done to my gear. I know you guys are super interested in the parts that I put on the Versys in particular, so today's going to be a good little update slash exploration day. If that sounds good, stick with me. All right, in classic Daily Cycle Works fashion, I went out for a ride to make a video, and now it is raining. Great. But speaking of raining, that kind of brings me into my first point that I want to talk about, which is my new visor. Builtwell came out with I don't know if they're calling it the Gen 2 or the V2 or whatever, but they came out with a second generation of lane splitter visors, face shields, and they are no better than the first one. They have several different little like stagey locations where you can kind of have it partially open, which I'm doing now, but you can't see because the camera's behind my shield, or the camera's in front of my shield. But they're worthless. I don't know why you'd want your visor partially open, blocking your view. They're supposed to be anti-fog. They're not. Surprise, surprise, they fog up just the same. And hopefully they last longer, I will say that. The old face shields had a really bad habit of getting scratched up really easily, or the tint just coming completely off. Like I've had one where the tint just bubbled straight off of the visor, the screen. Like I saw it kind of looking crackly on the long ride. By the time I got to my hotel, it was like separating in parts, and I didn't clean it with any kind of weird chemical or anything, so I know it was just like, must have been UV light, or I got a bad one. And I've had issues with Builtwell Gloves in the past where like I had a couple pairs of their whatever gloves, I don't know what they're called. They're really simple glove, kind of looks like this, but not. The cuff unstitched on one, so I hit them up and they were really good about sending me a new pair. They were like, oh man, this doesn't happen, we'll send you a new pair, we're so sorry about that. They sent me a new pair out instantly. I had it in a couple days, but the same thing happened again. They just weren't very high quality gloves. And I did pick the ones from them that are completely like synthetic, no leather at all, so maybe that's why. Maybe their leather gloves are better, maybe they're stitched heavier, but the gloves I got were awful, complete waste of money. And I needed a visor regardless because the other one got screwed up, so I can't say that this visor was a waste of money, but it wasn't any better than the stock one. I think it was more expensive than the stock one, so I kind of regret not just buying one of those. I picked the yellow color. That's kind of cool, I guess. It looks nice. It was easy to put on, but not really an improvement. Okay, I'm gonna probably have already floated image of the visor on the screen, so you saw it, see what I was looking at. But like I said, can't really recommend it. Second thing that I've gotten recently that is kind of meh is these Oxford boots. I don't know the exact name of them, so I'll float that on the screen too so you can see them. I bought them on Revzilla, so I'll just take a screenshot from their site, which you're probably looking at right now. But the fit is really nice. They are waterproof. I like that they're just zipper side. They go on really easy. I think they look good. They're super comfy. No like complaints in that form, in that aspect. Woo! I turned the camera a little bit there, sorry. What I do have a complaint on is how they're wearing. I don't know exactly when I bought them, how long I've been riding on them. I'll float that on the screen now as well because I'll do my research later, but they're already starting to break down. The heel is almost completely worn through. The toe cap is starting to show wear. The very tip of it has some chipping on it. Like it's just not going to last very much longer. The heels are going to go soon for sure. Maybe I'll float a picture of that too so you can see, but they're completely worn through in not a super long amount of time. And I'm not that kind of rider that like drags his feet a bunch. I'm just simply putting my feet down when I stop places, walking around in them, you know, regular wear and tear, no kind of crazy like Boosa boy dragging my feet when I rip off of every stop sign thing going on. None of that. It's just they're wearing down from normal wear and tear. They're just not very durable. And granted, they weren't super high priced, but the price was high enough where you expect a little better than that. My Alpine Stars and Dainese riding shoes that I've had have stood the test of time a lot more, and they're just like riding sneakers. So you would think that like an actual boot would have a better wear and tear, better lifespan, but disappointed. And the last pair of gear I've gotten, or piece of gear I've gotten recently, is the turn signal that I've left on. Don't go saying it in the comments. I know the turn signal was on for a long period of time. I turned it off. Hush. But I bought this Reacts jacket that you're probably looking at right now, and it's great. Zero complaints. Honestly, I wore it on the iron butt. I wear it on my daily rides. It's not waterproof, so that'll come into play. I have to bring around my my overcoat, my over raincoat or whatever, my pullover. I just pack that with me when I go places when I'm out for a long period of time. Of course, it's starting to rain now, and I did not pack it. Haha, surprise, surprise. Go me. But the jacket is great. Zero complaints, worth every penny. It's a little hot on the really hot days, a little cold in the really cold moments, but it's a nice blend, kind of a spring fall jacket. If it's getting hot, I unzip a little bit. If it's getting cold, I'll throw another layer underneath or something. But I'm really happy with the purchase, and I'm gonna probably run out and buy their mesh pants too that they make. I know it's not gonna be like warm enough for mesh pants for much longer, so I might not get them right now. I might wait until they go on sale or something and get them a little cheaper maybe, but I'm pretty impressed with their products, so I will probably buy more stuff from them as my gear claps out and I need to get new stuff. Testing out some new stuff on the Versys. I have to get off the bike to show you some of the stuff, so I'm just going to talk to you about the stuff you can see right now. This duck was looking kind of dingy, so I gave him a bath, washed him up. I moved this ram mount over to here just because it seems to like fit a little better, be more out of the way so you can see the instruments and whatnot. This bar is actually new. The last time you probably saw me on this bike, it had a gold bar on it. It was a gold fly racing bar on it. Now this is just like a really simple like $25 trackside bar, but it's decent enough quality. The black on it is nice and refreshed. It matched with what I had going on. It's the right dimensions. It feels good. And on the end here, we got some new Pro Taper pillow top grips. They're the neons. I like the pink grips. You guys know that. I think they're like loud and proud. So I got those. And then these Bike Master bar and mares. They look really nice for Bike Master parts. The quality is way higher than you expect from Bike Master, so I'm stoked on that. But they give me a really nice field of view. I'm going to turn in here because I'm going the wrong way. Stay tuned. I realized where I'm at, and it's not where I want to be. Okay. So I was driving to a little off-road spot I know, and then I spotted this little kind of abandoned looking road with a subdivision coming soon. So I just want to go check it out. Highlands of Decatur. Let's see what's looking like over here. We got some work trucks, so they're actively working in here. We shall return. We shall return. It looks nice though. I'm going to take advantage of the spot to kind of show you the new parts that we got working. Oh no, that guy's coming. Maybe I won't take advantage of the spot. I'll be back. Some other day, some other day. Okay, there we go. Go this way. And I am making another right in 1/4 mile. So I'll make that right and then we'll pull over. Actually, let's pull over here. This seems like a completely waste of space place. Park that nobody's at. Cool, cool, cool. Let's go see what it looks like. Gresham Park Athletic Complex. Let's explore, shall we? This is kind of cool. I've never actually been here, so we'll go check it out. And then I'll pull over and show you what I'm stoked on. Ooh. Not too shabby. Looks like a good place for some burnouts. Somebody did some burnies here. You see all the tracks on the ground. All right, let's park and show you what I got going on here. Kill the bike. Woo. Kickstand. Okay. All right. So, SW Motec crash bars. Obviously, you know I have the SW Motec skid plate. I love it. So now we've got the engine guard, boys. Full cage on that bad boy. I wish they made something to protect this like you see on the Royal Enfield Himalayans or a lot of GS's, because that's just a piece of plastic that is going to break if I hit it too hard. But I feel really protected now riding this bike, like as far as it not breaking. The biggest shortcoming is obviously these mirrors. Them being really good street mirrors means they're not very good dirt mirrors. But that's kind of what I'm getting at. I might do a little off-roading today, but that will be the last time that this bike probably sees the dirt. It's been a faithful steed in the dirt, but now it's time for this old girl to do road duty. These mirrors will break if this bike drops, so I'm gonna be careful if I do any off-roading, but it's gonna be the last time. I have a new bike in mind, and that bike is not something I'm gonna tell you right this second. But first, I kind of want to talk about the fact that everybody told me that the Kawasaki Versys could not go off-road. They were like, this is not a real ADV bike, it just kind of looks like one. But I've proven people wrong on that time and time again by taking it off-road a lot. This bike has seen a lot of dirt. You can see that there's actually mud all up in there right now, and this bike is cleaned. It's just mud in places that mud will never come out of. But in that spirit, let's go ahead and just keep riding. But in that spirit, one thing that I'm always like really big on is people saying that bikes are too small for adventure. I love riding scooters, and people kind of always hate on the smaller bikes. There's always like some macho dude that claims you need a 1,000cc bike, or you need a big ass adventure bike to go off-road, or somebody that's scared to take something a little less suited off-road. So they're like, you got to get a dirt bike, you got to get a dual sport, and they're like married to that idea that if you don't have the purpose-driven tool, you can't do the job, which is just bullshit, honestly. There was a time where people had one bike and that bike did everything. When we got Sportsters, when we got Bonnevilles, when those things came out, that was your dirt bike, that was your race bike, that was your flat track bike. If you went touring, that was your bike. It was the same spirit we saw with a lot of vintage Vespas. Yeah, you take it down to the cafe, but you also take it down the dirt track. People have taken two-stroke, air-cooled vintage Vespas around the world, time and time again. It is a bike that has seen lots and lots of adventure, but the Vespa is not my next dirt bike. Granted, I did get a new Vespa, but we'll talk about that later. There's a lot of stuff going on. But the new bike is going to be the Honda Trail 125, the CT 125. I'm buying the new version of it. Probably going to have it in a couple of weeks. I just got to figure out who I want to buy it from without getting too into that. The easiest place to buy it from, the local place to buy it from is a dealership I'm not thrilled about doing business with. I don't want to give them any of my money. So I'm going to be going to a dealership out of town, and it's just a matter of deciding which direction out of town I want to go. But the price is right on them. The bike checks all of the boxes for what I want out of a bike. That is going to be my next off-road machine for sure, and I'm stoked on it. I'm stoked to go further and like deeper than anybody says that bike can do. People are already the friends that know are already kind of hating on the idea of a 125 as my ADV bike, but it's going to do just fine. I'm going to go in places like that. Those of you that have been with the channel for a long time remember that I used to have lots of Honda Trails. I think I brought 2 different ones on the channel before already. I used to ride them a lot and go in areas like that and areas like that and just really explore, and I want to get back on that. So I am going to be buying that new one. We're going to take it off-road, and it is going to be a blast, my dudes. There's just so many little hidden, tucked away areas around Atlanta that you might have to squeeze through a little gate, or maybe even go over a fence, or kind of duck under a railing or something to get into what ends up being like acres and acres of off-road fun. And I just miss going into those spots. And the real tool for the job is, I think, a mini bike, a small bike of some sort. I could do it on my Vespa. I really could. I'm really good at riding vintage Vespas. About as good as you can be on something that's so like low tech. But I want something a little bit more durable, something that I'm not going to bang up the like classic metal on. So the Trail is going to do the job for me perfectly. I'm excited to really push my limits off-road on this thing and push its limits off-road much harder than I can do on this bike or any ADV bike. And just my personality type isn't the type that wants to do it the easy way. I don't want to. I was going to turn in there, but that looks like it's just a business school of some sort. I'm not the type that just wants to take the easy route and buy a dual sport that everybody else has and just like go do it that way. Like, yeah, I could buy a dual sport, I could buy a dirt bike, or I can buy a vintage inspired Honda that'll go and go and go. And I actually have one tattooed on me. I have a Honda Cub tattooed on me. I love that bike. I've had literally dozens of the variants of that bike. Lots and lots of Passports, lots of Cubs, lots of CTs. It's a bike near and dear to my heart. So I'm excited to get back on one and just really explore on one and kind of, get back to my roots, I suppose. And I think you guys will enjoy it a lot too. The CT videos I made were pretty early on in this channel's life, but they did really well. I still see people watching them. I like check the analytics on all my videos. There's not a lot of videos up, so I check the analytics on all of them, and I see that you guys are still watching that video or those videos, so I'm excited to make more of them. I think it'll be a good time. So this is a prime example of why I want the trail. Like obviously I could get the Versys up right there. I already see my line. I can get through there. I can push that stuff down and get through and get on this trail here with this little kind of dirt road situation and probably have a really good time over there. But with the trail, it'll be so much easier. I can just literally walk it over, or I can go over there and just pick it up and go over. It would make my life so much easier to get into these areas. And I can't like stress enough how kind of sketchy some of these spots are. So being able to get in and out really easily is the utmost importance, because when it comes down to it, I am trespassing when I go on these like random little trails. I don't know who owns them. I just go in because I see the entrance, you know, and I do that a lot. So doing it on this bike was fun, but doing it on this bike was also really loud. At some points, really hard to get in, and most times, like more times than not, really hard to get out. Usually I find my way in pretty easily. Like I'd go right there, actually. That would be my way into that trail. But then you go down the trail for a really long time, you end up getting at the other end that doesn't have such an easy entrance / exit, and you're just stuck in there fighting up a hill. Or there's another one. I could go right through that really easily, right around that fence right there if I had the trail, and be on trails infinitely. Another one right there, super easy. And I just want to do that stuff. That's what I used to do. That's how I kind of built this channel, just going in areas like that and exploring, seeing what I can see. Some of the other bikes that were on the table for this were the Honda Ruckus. I've done that kind of stuff on the Honda Ruckus before. My issue there is a lack of street power to get to spots. Like right now, I'm doing 45 miles an hour, just cruising along. The Honda Ruckus cannot do that. For me, like I know people disagree, but for me, it's great off-road. I handled some really gnarly trails on it, but getting to the trails is the shitty part. And if you can't get there, you can't ride there. And I'm not trying to trailer my bike around. I'm trying to explore. Like a couple of friends of mine have been like, just buy a dirt bike. And yeah, I could just buy a dirt bike, but A, that's too easy. And B, I do not want to trailer anywhere. It's a chore. Anybody who says that trailering their dirt bike to off-road areas isn't a chore hasn't ridden an adventure bike where they can just ride up there on the highway, ride around, and then ride straight home with no kind of loading or unloading. So that's what knocked out the Ruckus. Second bike that was kind of on the table was the Royal Enfield Himalayan, but it's too heavy. Honestly, great bike, super fun, really good looking in my opinion, one of the better looking adventure bikes, but it's just too heavy. And that Royal Enfield reliability is still kind of questionable to me. Everybody says they're getting better and better, but I still don't think they'll be kind of up for the task of what I want to do to a bike. I know a lot of people in like India and just the East in general ride those bikes really hard, but like I am especially bad at maintenance. Like I do not do routine maintenance. I will rig up something really easily versus fixing it properly. I'm just hard on bikes, so I need the bike to be as reliable as possible. I need something that's like Japanese made, that's just going to take my abuse time and time again, because I will be dishing out abuse. Let's go down there, I guess. No, I want to go this way. Yeah, let's go this way actually. So Royal Enfield Himalayan is out based on weight and potential reliability issues. Up next was the Honda ADV 150. You guys know I love scooters. I really, really love scooters. So the idea of an adventure scooter is right up my alley. That sounds like a good ass time to me. But I don't know that its off-road prowess is that great. Ooh, there's a trail right there. Ooh, that feels really good standing up and getting in the wind. Oh man, I love standing on a bike. But it's pretty strongly on the table, honestly, as a bike that I'll acquire at some point. Its styling is good. I've seen people do some like light trails on it, so I think it could be fun where I just am kind of like battling it off-road a little bit. I think it could be a really good time. So the Honda ADV 150 is only out because the trail is a better option for my goals, not because of any fault of it. I do think I could be pretty competent off-road on it, but it's out for now. And speaking of out for now, another bike that came across my like brain, the table in my head, my desk in my mind, was the Versys 300. The Versys 300 has the X, which for them means it's better off-road, which it is better off-road than this bike. So having a Versys that can go off-road a little better sounded great. They make skid plates for it and hand guards for it and all kinds of like protection bits and cool exhaust and all the stuff I like doing to a bike. But the price tag's a little high, honestly. I'm seeing people ask like $6,000 for them, which is not like a price just to be sneezed at. For that price, you can get a lot of used proper ADV bikes, and I know it isn't about having the biggest machine or having the proper machine. At least my goals aren't, but it just seems a little too pricey. There was also some concerns about it being like kind of revvy, like you needing lots of revs to get it moving, which for me isn't a big deal. That's the same with this bike, and I've mastered it. You just gear it a little differently and you're fine. So I'm not super concerned with that, but the price is really what scared me away from that. It's almost double the price of what you can get for a used trail. So I'm gonna probably spend around $3,900 versus spending like $5,900. So I'm happy with my decision not to get that bike, but it is still very, very tempting, and I still kind of want one. But that's kind of what I was thinking, and stacking them all against each other, I think the trail is just a better option. So it's the one that won, and it's the one I'm going to buy in a couple weeks. I don't know an exact date for when I'm going to buy it, but as soon as possible, basically. Whenever time and life all matches up, I'll go ahead and grab it, figure out where I'm going and get one. And then very, very soon after, obviously, the videos are going to flow, because that's how I am. But that's it for this one, honestly. That's all I got. I just kind of wanted to tell you about the new bike, tell you about some new parts on this, and now I'm going to get ahead and get out of here. So if you haven't yet, please hit subscribe. I super appreciate that. And if you enjoyed this little bop around, go ahead and hit thumbs up. That helps the channel grow. It means a lot to me. Please, please, please do that if you enjoyed this. And last but not least, hopefully it's as nice out where you live as it is right here, and you can go ride. If so, get on that bike and send it, bro. Send it.